Have you ever lost any respect for someone instantly? Growing up, my cousin Ethan was my hero. The guy was a real police officer with a badge, gun, and everything. He worked the streets, responded to emergency calls, and had stories that made everyone at family dinners stop eating just to listen. While other kids wanted to be firefighters or astronauts, I wanted to be exactly like Ethan. I even wrote my 5th grade My Hero report about him. When I turned 17, I got my first real job delivering pizzas for Tony's Pizza downtown. It wasn't glamorous work, but it paid for gas money and gave me something to do on weekends. Most nights were pretty boring, just driving around dropping off pepperoni pizzas to families watching movies. One Saturday night around 9, I was delivering to Maple Street, which was known for having loud college parties every weekend. Nothing unusual there. I dropped off 2 large pizzas to some kids who were already pretty drunk, collected my tip, and headed back to my beat-up Honda Civic. That's when I heard the screaming. I turned around and saw this guy across the street dragging a woman down his driveway by her hair. She was screaming, "Help me," and "Please stop," over and over. The guy was yelling back at her, calling her names I can't repeat. It was horrible to watch. I froze for a second, not knowing what to do. Then I remembered something Ethan told me once at a barbecue. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't ignore your gut when people need help. So I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. While I was talking to the dispatcher, giving them the address and describing what I was seeing, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. Parked right across the street, maybe 50 feet from where this assault was happening, was a police car. And sitting inside that car, in full uniform, was Ethan. I couldn't believe it. My hero cousin was right there, watching the same thing I was watching. I waved at him frantically, pointing at the guy who was now trying to drag the woman toward his front door. I mouthed, "Do something," and pointed again. Ethan looked right at me. He saw me pointing. He saw the woman being dragged. And then, he just shook his head at me, started his car, and drove away. I stood there with my mouth open, still holding my phone. The 911 dispatcher was asking if I was still there. By the time other police officers arrived about 10 minutes later, the guy had managed to get the woman inside his house and lock the door. They had to bang on the door for another 15 minutes before anyone answered. I gave the responding officers my full statement about what I saw, but the whole time, all I could think about was Ethan in that police car, choosing to drive away instead of helping. The next week was our family's monthly barbecue at my aunt's house. Everyone was there like usual, my parents, grandparents, all the cousins. Ethan showed up in his regular clothes, acting like nothing had happened. He was telling some story about chasing down a shoplifter, and everyone was hanging on his every word like always. I couldn't take it anymore. I walked over and interrupted him. "Hey, Ethan, can I talk to you for a minute?" He looked annoyed, but followed me to the backyard where we could talk privately. "I saw you last Saturday night," I said, "on Maple Street. You were parked right there when that guy was attacking that woman." His whole expression changed. He wasn't smiling anymore. "You saw what happened," I continued. "Why didn't you help her? Why did you just drive away?" Ethan looked around to make sure no one else could hear us, then shrugged like I was asking him about the weather. "Domestic calls are messy, kid. These women always end up defending their boyfriends later anyway. She probably went back to him the next day. No point in me ruining my whole night over something like that." I stared at him, waiting for the punchline or for him to say he was joking, but he wasn't joking. "Besides," he added, "I was technically off duty. Not my problem. That was it." That was the exact moment when the hero I'd looked up to my entire life just died in my mind. This wasn't the guy who taught me about doing the right thing. This was just some coward in a uniform who cared more about his own convenience than protecting people. I didn't say anything else to him. I just walked back inside and told my parents I wasn't feeling well and needed to go home. I never spoke to Ethan again after that night.